Right, guys. Well, come closer. You guys in the back. I have an amazing panel over here. Really a panel of amazing digital marketing experts, and we're going to be firing on all cylinders. We have about 20 minutes, so we'll be talking about really how to grow a startup on a budget, or even better, without a budget. And 2014, guys, what a year it has been in marketing. Myself, I'm in SEO, so I work with Google. And I just recently published a book about SEO called SEO Like I'm 5 in August. And I'm already working on a second edition, really a couple of months into the publishing process, because Google, should I answer or no? So Google changes algorithm like 20 times since August. So we living in this era of constant change, and you know, there's a lot of opportunity. I always say it's the best time to do marketing for startups, but it's also the worst time. Okay? Why it's the best time? Because marketing is now democratized. So I can compete as an entrepreneur with no budget, as I do, on platforms like Google and YouTube and Amazon and so on. But it's also, and without the budget, I can compete for the same eyeballs as a big brands with huge budgets, right? So in a way, creativity beats the budget today. But on the same time, it's also the worst time because it's never been more competitive and it's never been more fragmented. So if you don't figure out what strategies to use really quickly and how to scale quickly, you'll become irrelevant and you're not gonna be able to bring your product to market as effectively as you wish. So I'm gonna really quickly introduce myself. I'm a part-time professor. I teach at NYU, I teach digital marketing, I teach social media. I have my NYU student over there, hello. And I'm also a full-time entrepreneur, guys. I'm out there bootstrapping 3 businesses right now. You can check me out at Decoder. And really quickly, I want to give just a couple seconds to each panelist to introduce themselves and their business.
Hi, I'm Mallory. I'm the co-founder of Small Girls PR. We are a fairly small PR shop in comparison to some of these human people on this panel, I think. And we started about 4 years ago, just myself and my partner. We're now 15 people, and we are the agency of record for brands such as General Electric and Taylor. Have done projects with everyone from Google to Pinkberry to AOL, launching new features or storefronts or what have you. And we're founded in new media and now do a lot of traditional things that you think of when you think of PR as well. So storytelling, media pitching, and stuff like that.
Hi, my name is Miranda, and I'm the founder and CEO of MyPRGenie. MyPRGenie is a PR platform. We are for an easy-to-use platform for companies as well as PR professionals to use to get their message out there. And we started MyPRGenie in 2007. And prior to that, I had my own agency working with a number of companies, public as well as startups. And I'm really excited to meet you guys today.
Hi, I'm Alicianne, so I run the marketing at NewsCred. When I joined 3 years ago, we were about 5 people at our New York office, and we had just finished raising our seed round. We were about to raise our Series A. So I've been with the company from 5 employees and just before a $4 million Series A to now, 3 years later, 200 employees, $45 million in venture-backed capital, and a lot of craziness. So I've seen a lot in the last 3 years.
Hey, I'm Mike King. I do everything they do.
Great. So, you know, let's get down to business. And it's end of the year. 2014 just flew by. And right now, what we're doing, as far as marketing is concerned, we're wrapping things up, looking at things that worked and we want to do more of, and also thinking about what we're going to do next year. So I want to turn into the panel and ask you this question. Which marketing strategies should we stop, continue, and start next year? So what hasn't worked, put it aside. What should we continue, you know, double down on, and what's new? What startup should think about 2015?
Okay, so when I started Small Girls, we had $0 to our name, so we couldn't afford a wire or things like Cision or Garcana, where you can actually look up all of the reporters' handles and email addresses. So we started by just like really focusing in on doing our research and doing one-to-one comms. And that ended up being a blessing in disguise, because then we realized, okay, there are a lot of larger agencies where they can afford these tools and they'll make mass BCC lists and have 400 reporters on there, and they'll just like send it to everyone they know, and it might not even be the right reporter, and then that gives PR a bad name. So less of that. Gawker actually just did a big expose where some publicist, some poor publicist, accidentally BCC, or instead of BCCing, CC'd like 400 different writers, and was like, hi, I thought this might be a fit for you based on all of your work that I've read, and it's like 400 different reporters. And I was like, no, I need to find a new career. So less of that, and then also on like the blogger side, more of the same, where it's like co-creating content with bloggers instead of just sending something and hoping they put it up on their blog. So quality over quantity, I guess.
I totally agree, actually. I think, one of the things I see a lot for marketing firms and PR professionals, how they basically just send out like masses of blasts, and it's really untargeted, and it's just, now big data and also artificial intelligence, there's a lot of ways to actually be more targeted. And I totally agree. I think the key to successful PR is basically making sure that your message is just targeted to the right person. And I think nowadays there's so many tools out there, it's actually, it's possible to do that using big data, artificial intelligence. So for MyPRGenie, we're like, we have a database of 500,000 media contacts, but we do not recommend people just sending it out to like everybody. Because if you're like if you're a small company and you're in the food industry, it really makes no sense for you to send it out to, for example, maybe medical or insurance. And it's just like, if anything, it's actually hurting you. So I totally agree with, Mallory in the sense that you have to be totally targeted. And I think nowadays, with technology, it's actually easier than ever to kind of get your message out there to the right people. And you don't have to play this game where you're just sending it out to like 400 reporters and hoping, oh, I just really hope like one of these people will write back to me. There's actually ways now you can actually, really target the right people and actually predict which ones will most likely write about your story. It just saves a lot of time. So that's something I see. And I think with big data, I think for 2015, 2016, that's really the future. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, Her. Did you guys see that? It's one of my favorite movies. It's about this guy who fell in love with the operating system. It sounds kind of cheesy, but I really believe the future of big data, it's actually easier than ever to really do your PR right, and anyone could do it. You don't have to have like massive experience, You could just basically, using technology, figure out who's the right person to target and get your message out there. And that's something I see. I think it's, the next couple of years, it's going to be easier and easier than ever.
Okay, so just for some context, NewsCred is a B2B technology SaaS platform, and we sell to the Fortune 2000. So the digital marketing tactics that I'll share are going to be very, narrowed in on our specific audience segments and what we sell. So I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give in terms of what we're going to continue to keep doing is investing in AdWords. So AdWords is tried and true, seems relatively boring compared to any other creative marketing strategy, but it absolutely works. When we were starting, it accounted for over 20% of our revenue in the first year that I was at NewsCred, which is absolutely crazy. As we've grown and our buyer persona has actually narrowed down to the Fortune 2000, it still is one of our highest performing digital marketing channels, accounting for, again, about 20% of our pipeline today. So less, not in terms of the revenue, but in terms of our pipeline and opportunities. Things that I would definitely continue is content marketing. So we really practice what we preach. We are a content marketing platform. We publish about 2 articles a day. And we've gone from about 5,000 subscribers to our blog earlier this year to 50,000 subscribers, getting our newsletter almost, I think it's like 3 to 4 times a week. So content marketing has been a huge traffic driver for us and really great for brand awareness. With content marketing, we also execute a lot of paid demand generation strategies. So paid Facebook advertising, as well as Twitter demand gen cards, as well as a number of other tactics, driving to our landing pages where people fill out forms. So that has been very, very effective, coming up with creative distribution strategies to leverage content. Specifically, again, we're a B2B content marketing platform, so getting leads and fueling pipeline is our #1 goal. Things that I would stop. I think we experiment a lot with native advertising this year, and native advertising actually proves to be a pretty strong channel for us, but What we're having some difficulty with is basically pushing those leads through the pipeline and converting them at every stage. So obviously native advertising is almost like free. Oh no, it's not free at all. It's almost like paid PR, getting our story out there, and we advertise with Ad Age and Ad Week. In the beginning, I think it was really effective because there was less saturation in the native ad market. Now there's a lot more saturation. I think we're getting less impressions and eyeballs on our content, and so the actual cost per lead and cost per opportunity has actually diminished in returns over time. So I think we're not going to stop that, but we just need to evaluate it and figure out creative strategies around how we go after that channel, potentially not against a broad reach, but potentially against very targeted niche verticals.
So every time we do this, I'm going to be the last one, and I'm basically going to say what they said. Not because I don't know what to say, but so in the case of paid search, it's always going to be the most efficient channel. You know, there's been studies where they've compared paid search to content marketing, and paid search is always a fixed cost that gets a fixed return. Whereas content marketing is something that compounds over time. If you have the time to actually, you know, put the effort and money into paid search, or excuse me, content marketing, you're ultimately going to yield way more returns from that. But being that we're talking about startup stuff here, you guys are not always going to have that opportunity to have that time to do so. So content marketing, we will definitely continue to do that for our clients, but we're more on a less is more perspective at this point, because everybody thinks about content marketing like, oh, we can just do 10 blog posts a week and we'll get X number of leads. But the problem is there's only so much attention span that everyone has, and we're getting to the point where we're getting to critical mass with content marketing, and it's going to be less about, you know, putting out more. It's going to be more about creating the definitive thing, creating the thing that everybody refers to and links to and shares in social media. So to my point about content marketing, yes, we'll do it, but we're going to do it on a grander scale with less pieces of content. As far as things to stop, definitely the blanket blasting of, you know, whether it's bloggers or news outlets or whatever, stop sending messages that are not going to resonate with those people. Like she was saying, there's so much data out there to have context around the people that you're talking to. So there's no reason for you to send some cold email to somebody where you can just reach out to them on Twitter, and you can look on the various social platforms that they're on and see what they're actually interested in. As far as things to do more of, I would definitely say more marketing automation, because there are just so many opportunities to take the interns out of the picture, you know, and have targeted things that happen based on when people come to your website, how they got there, what the features and actions of those users are. So, you know, there's any number of platforms out there that do this, but really aligning the content that you do ultimately create for your content marketing with that buyer journey so that you're making the right things to push people through the funnel. Do more of that. That's all I got.
Thanks, Mike. And I'm going to be really quick, guys. As far as you were a startup, stop counting impressions. Just take impressions out of your metrics and really pay with your limited budget or with your time and talent, pay for some kind of engagement, for a lead, for a transaction, for a click, anything of that sort. As far as things to continue testing. Test, and do a lot of automation Mike is talking about over here. And as far as the things to start, you know, we talk a lot about consumer products here and how we bring things to market. So I'll give you this one quick study. I always talk about sort of building a new website as being a snowflake in Alaska, all right? And it's really hard to bring critical mass to that snowflake in Alaska, right? And there's been this case study where you know, somebody would build their website on Shopify and try to sell a product. And then they would put the same product on Amazon, and then they would reach 400% more higher conversion rate on Amazon. So if you want to test something quickly, and your objective is to put things in people's hands, your consumers' hands, right? So they use your product. Think about platforms that are already designed, you know, where people already search to buy. So Amazon, eBay, you know, leverage those platforms before you build your own online store, because it's going to take you that long to grow it. Second question I have, and this is a question that I want to make it really actionable for you guys, so you can go back to your desk tomorrow and sort of do it. So what is like the most actionable, your favorite digital marketing hack?
Can I go first?
And I'm gonna go with Mike because you already complained going last. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is just like a tactic that we use when we launch big content. Typically what we'll do, rather than doing any paid media, because a lot of the clients we have can't afford it, we'll partner with another website that has a lot of traffic that has their target audience. So for example, let's say we do like an ebook or something to that effect. We'll do either a portion of the ebook or something tangential to that ebook as a guest post on one of those sites, then link back to a landing page that has two options to download the actual ebook. One option is pay with the tweet, and the way that works is people have to tweet about the piece of content before they can actually download it, or you can have them sign up with their email address. A lot of people don't want to give you their email, but they will tweet, and then that pushes the content further as well because they have to tweet about it to get it.
Cool, so I can go. So my favorite digital marketing hack is actually a feature within our larger product, NewsCred platform. So essentially what it allows you to do is be able to track specific individuals and their entire content journey. So exactly like what pieces of content they're reading and sharing at what stage of the buyer process. And we can be able to track all of those audience insights for our competitors too. So it's essentially a very great competitive analysis and stalker tool. And the data and information that we can get out of that is where the hack part comes in. So using that analysis, we can pull in all of the top most important influencers who are not only looking at our content and sharing it, but also all of our top 20 competitors. We can then download and figure out all of their names, email addresses, and mailing addresses, and use that as a very targeted list of people that we want to then reach out to and connect with. And we know that those people are already interested in the field and potentially somebody in our space.
Really quick question, what do you mean by hack? Like, when you say digital marketing hack, I was like, something I really, really like, or something that I think is kind of weird?
Yeah, I would say by hack, I mean something unconventional, something that is not like, okay, just do more Facebook ads, right? So let me go quickly and maybe I can give you an example. So for me, one of my favorite digital marketing hacks is SlideShare. How many of you guys are on SlideShare today? 2? All right, so maybe 10%, maybe 20% of the audience. I can tell you guys, first off, as far as hacking and social media for startups, I like platforms that have homepages. Because when I get on a homepage, good things happen, right? It's really hard to get on a homepage on YouTube these days because it's highly saturated. SlideShare is a land grab. And startups often come to me and they say, I have no, entrepreneurs, I have no skills. I have no design skill, I have no writing skill, I have no skills whatsoever. Well, do you know how to build PowerPoint decks? Like you do it all every day. So PowerPoint decks, guys, I gotta tell you, it helped my startup. I did, in 2 years, I think I put 15 decks on SlideShare and I got 500,000 views. And then in those SlideShare decks, I put calls to action. Download my book, buy from me. Perform certain actions for me, and I track it back. And I have to tell you that it's amazing audience, and it's great for startups. So SlideShare is my hack. Helps?
Yeah, that totally helps. So some of the things I see that actually pretty common is people sharing content, which is great. This whole it's all about sharing content now. That you hear that everywhere. It's content, content, content. But I think before just sharing content, maybe something that people could do is an extra step. Oh. I'll be really quick. Okay, which is basically taking that extra step and not just share the content, but actually take the time to find out who these influencers are. And actually maybe, give them a little cred. Instead of just sharing this article, say, oh, share this article, maybe, say at, Miranda Tan, at, Mallory. So this person will feel like, oh, thanks, giving me that credit. And that's actually part of this whole, using big data to be more personalized, customizing, and using predictive analysis to get the best results.
My favorite digital marketing hack is meeting up with other digital marketers in real life. And the reason for that is that we do so many cross-promotional things with other social media directors of other brands for our clients. So for example, we rep Crib, which is an on-demand blowout and beauty service. And obviously there's a lot of other on-demand services in sort of like this whole sharing economy on-demand space. So maybe we'll do a partnership with 1-1 where you get things delivered straight to your door that are from like Dwayne Reed or CBS, and then have cross-promotional tweets on both sides. That's not something we would actually done, but it's something we could do, for example, because we're friends with the social media director of 1-1. And that's from just sending quick emails being like, hey, I see we're in a similar space, we have similar interests, let's figure out a way we can cross-promote. So just building real-life relationships with social media directors of brands, digital marketing editors of different content sites, and then building a relationship so you know what their beat is, what they're interested in, and figuring out how you can help each other's brands.
Can I just,
go
ahead. I just had one more bonus. If you have a bunch of people that have shared a ton of your content on Twitter, and you can pull down that list of people, if you ran it through full contact, you can then get their email addresses and then reach out to them directly. If you have a bunch of people that are following you on Facebook and you don't have their email addresses, you can actually scrape their IDs, and then it'll give you, if you just append at facebook.com to that, you can then email them directly because it goes to whatever email they have signed up with Facebook for.
Don't tweet this one, guys.
Yeah, let's say like you have a business page or something, you have like 50,000 people that follow you, you can scrape the IDs and then append at facebook.com to that, and then any email sent to that is forwarded to whatever email they actually use to sign up with Facebook. Swag.
Guys, don't do it at home. Andrew, do you have questions from, do we have time for questions from the audience? Out of time, guys. Well, thank you so much. You've been great.